Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this very special episode of Ethan Plays Live.
Don't force me out of bed in your society. Don't push me down the road you're planning down. Don't try to fix my head, it's just your anxiety. Don't hush me now, cause I just wanna shout. Don't make me dance to a tune that you're humming. No, my body don't move like that. Don't make me pretend I don't see your shortcomings. You'll be running when I raise the black flag. Get out your bomb and fly away. We'll be dancing with our hands in the air when our new dawn is rising.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Ethan Plays Live. I am Ethan. This is a special presentation of Requiem for the GDC with Hana, who will be with us in just a few moments. First of all, I want to apologize for the overlay. This is my Twitch overlay. It's the only one that's working today for some reason. I don't know why. And now chat is working. So chat was not working all day. Now it's working. So I was going to explain why chat wasn't working, and now chat's working. I don't know. I just work here. First of all, I want to welcome you all. This was not an interview I ever thought I was going to get to do. We will get to that in a few moments. There will be an after show. So the after show is going to work the way that the old after shows did on when I was on Mixer. So tonight's after show will be on Twitch. It will be immediately following this. You go over to twitch.tv/Ethan Plays Live. It's somewhere on the screen or something. Anyway, to watch it, if you want to participate in the after show, come on and comment. All you have to do is join my Discord. To get the Discord link in chat, type !Discord. The link will come up. The link's in the description. I'm sure one of the mods can get it to you. I want to thank the mods. Especially, I want to mention Lady Starfire. For those of you who don't know, she was in the hospital. She has been discharged. She is at home. She's doing a lot better, and I want to thank everyone for their overwhelmingly positive support towards Lady Starfire the past couple of days as she was struggling with that. Okay. Tonight, we are going to talk to Hana. I'm going to let Hana tell her own story. This was, like I said, not an interview I ever thought I was going to get to do, and the reason is because when I first asked Hana if she wanted to do this interview, she told me no. A year or whenever ago it was, and she said that she was not interested and did not want to do it. And a few days ago, she reached out and she said, I'm ready. And I am not going to explain a single thing about Hana because I think it needs to come from her, and it will only be whatever she is willing and ready to reveal is what we're going to talk about tonight. So, with no further ado, Hana, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I hope you can hear me.
I can. Oh, I wanted to mention one other thing to the live chat. I can put your messages up on screen. So, for instance, Rattle Chan, as you can see, I can highlight your messages. This is a beta program that I've never used before. I don't know if it's stable. I don't know if it's going to break halfway through the stream, but I can put your messages up on the screen. So if you do have something you want asked or a comment you want to make, tag myself or tag Hana, and I will try to get them up on screen. Okay. Sorry about that. I forgot to mention that. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm, it has been a challenging day, and it was difficult to get this stream off the ground. You guys have no idea the technical issues sometimes confronted by streamers in the background. But I'm glad that we were able to do it, and I'm glad to talk to you. You and I have known each other now for, I don't even know, a while. Year and a half? Something like that?
Yeah, it's definitely been over a year.
Yeah.
My God, that's a long time.
I know. And you've always been very kind to me and a good friend to me. And I do want to say that if at any time you want to stop and turn the stream off, we immediately will stop and turn the stream off. If you say in 2 days, hey, delete it, I will delete it. This is not, I don't want anybody saying that I'm twisting your arm or forcing you to be here. That's definitely not what's going on?
Like you said, I reached out to you. I'm the one that contacted you and was like, yeah, I'm ready, for the interview. Because something that I think is worth mentioning is that Fiona did an interview with you. Was it a few days ago? What was it? Tuesday, Monday?
Monday, yeah, I think.
Something like that. And guys, if I'm low on volume, I'm sorry. I did not set up my laptop for the Wi-Fi here, so I am on mobile on my Bluetooth. So I don't think Ethan can turn me up anymore.
You are. I've already maxed you out. You are as maximum volume as I can get.
Hold on, I have one last resort in
Okay.
case. Maybe I should turn off Bluetooth and see how it goes. I'll be right back.
Maybe. In the meantime, Insidious Vids just subscribed, and welcome to the channel. Thank you for subscribing, Insidious Vids. Yeah, she is. She's on her phone. She's at like a 4 out of 10. Yeah, it's low, and I've got the volume maxed on Discord. Like, you know how you've got the little slider? It's at 200%. So that's
Is that any better or any worse?
it's the same.
I'll
I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Honest attempt.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn my microphone down so that we're about even. Okay, now our volume should be about even, so people can turn up their volume, and I shouldn't blast them out. So that way, you and I should be more even now. Go ahead and say something.
Hello.
Yeah, you and I are about even. You're actually a little bit louder than me now, but okay, we should be good.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sorry. This is I don't live in New York, so I don't have my old place, so I don't have everything set up that I usually do. So
Right.
I apologize for my volume being a little messy.
It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna make this work. I promise we're gonna make this work. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I start all of these interviews the exact same way with the exact same question, and that is, how did you first find the GDC?
I found the GDC through everybody else. I think it was a G-Man versus the Black Hebrew Israelite video. He has one that actually has over 100,000 views or something like that. And at the time, I was actually debating Black Hebrew Israelites live on the street. So I was scouring through YouTube, trying to find out like what their arguments were, what they're interested in. Because the first argument I ever had with a BHI did not go as expected. So I actually found G-Man that way, and from G-Man I found Drag. From Drag I found Talking Shit Tuesday, and that's pretty much how I met everybody else.
Okay. And what did you participate a lot in the GDC?
I'd say I lurked, rarely ever leaving a message in the live chat for about 6 months to a year, and then I started chatting quite avidly in the live chat once I created a YouTube account, because I was always anonymous at that point. So once I created an account and I decided, I wanted to participate in the live chat, I became more and more of a regular and more of a familiar face. And I think it was either a Steve hangout where he said, look, here's the link, Google Hangouts, anybody who wants to join can come in. And I remember the very first hangout I joined, I was just wanted to quickly extrapolate a point somebody was making about, I think it was young Earth creationism at the time. And it just devolved into all of us like having fun, talking shit. It felt like more of a hangout than it was a conversation or a debate. So
Right.
I think that's how I first came on to YouTube.
And was that usually what you argued? Was like young Earth creationism stuff against that?
Yeah, I think I've been in debate club since high school, middle school. So I'm always, searching for that kind of entertainment, the blood sports, so to speak. And I always had discussions, debates with people on the street or preachers or whatever. Not like avidly, not like, I would bother them, but like, hey, I've got an hour to kill before I go to school, and here's the preacher on my, college corner. Why not? Let's entertain them for a little while. So I think from there, that's kind of what drew me to the GDC was, I can have these discussions or a debate whenever I wanted to.
So this is a question that I usually ask people, but for you, it's got, I think, a very special answer. So I'm still going to ask you, even though it's a really loaded question. Who would you say you were closest to in the GDC?
Closest friend wise, closest like.
You
This
answer the
is a- yeah,
question
okay.
in any way that you heard it.
Okay, out of everyone in the GDC that I got close to, the closest person who, penetrated the inner circles, I guess, of my psyche were Red's Rhetoric. For those of you that don't know, I'm Red's Rhetoric's ex-girlfriend. We dated, I believe, 2 or 3 years. I'm off on my math. It's been
Sure.
I don't usually think about it, so I'm going to be totally off on my math. But I think we started 2016, going into 2017 January. So 2 3 years, yeah.
Okay. And as far as friends and not romantic entanglements, who would you say you were closest with?
Well, when it comes to friends, I think the way that it happened was the same group of people would be in the same hangouts on Talking Shit Tuesday and such. That became close to a few people almost simultaneously. Like Fiona, I really appreciated her a lot. I still regurgitate some of her Yek famous one-liners.
Right.
Counters to this day, still to this day. Drag I got close to because he was someone who I saw a lot of potential in him as far as being like an orator or someone who could have pretty good rhetoric. He was such a cringy white belt atheist in the day, but he's come around since. So I'm really quite proud of his progress. Scientist Sam. I mean, there's quite a few people that I became close with, and people who even today I'm gonna go visit. I see them as regularly as I can, considering that we're out of state. I would consider them real life friends now.
For those just coming in who are just joining the stream, Hana's voice is as loud as we can get it, and so I turned myself down to approximately match her. So yes, the overall volume is a little low. So you may have to turn your volume up, but it's what it's got to be today, unfortunately. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's one of those things, we work through it. Okay. Tell me about your relationship with Jade.
With Jade?
Jade.
I think in my life, I don't have many regrets because I think regretting is a useless practice. I think it just creates unnecessary heartache. And, foresight is always going to be 2020, so you do the best that you can in the moment. But when it comes to Jade, she's one of those people that I always assumed she would be around. And she was like a living encyclopedia. I don't think there was any random question that I ever posed to her where she didn't have a concrete, solid answer that I could go look up on my own. She's actually the reason why I discovered my sexuality, because I didn't, I couldn't quite describe my preferences to other people, and I didn't know myself too well. But having one conversation with Jade, I walk away, oh, I'm LGBTQ. Oh, shit, is that what I am? Have I discovered that?
Right.
Just one conversation. I think we were having it for 2.5 hours. Jade is the type of person that I took for granted that she would always be here. And I always wanted to have such conversations with her about her activism in her youth, her college life, her high school life, what she did, during the Vietnam War, like the stuff that she would say that she participated in. She was like an activist in the real sense. She was a feminist in like the real sense, activist on the streets there.
Right.
The wealth of knowledge that she has, the stuff that she's seen. And I never got as close to her as I thought that I would. Just because I never thought of the GDC without Jade. She was always there. It's always a cat picture, somewhere, and there's Jade in the corner, or there's Jade in the live chat, or there's Jade, trying to figure out how to get her computer working, or her mic working, or her cat stumbled upon her keyboard and muted herself again. She just was always there, and then one day she just wasn't, and I don't know. I guess that kind of hit home to me how much like people in this community matter to me. Like these, to me, the people that I interact with aren't strangers.
Mm-hmm.
These are people that I care about, and I think it took Jade passing for me to really appreciate that.
Right. Yeah, the loss of a thing that means so much to you, you know, or person, can fundamentally affect your life. I lost my mom when I was rather young. I was only 23, and it was sudden, and it's not something you recover from. It's something that you learn how to deal with the sting of. And I feel like from the stories that I've heard that Jade was that kind of figure for a lot of the GDC folks, that she was that that kind of anchor that helped so many people be able to relate to each other, even you know, through their differences.
100%. I mean, I could not tell you somebody. There's two people in the GDC that I can tell you I actively tried to emulate. One of which being Christopher Mowdy, the other being Jade. I cannot tell you two more patient individuals when it comes to dealing with folks who aren't necessarily keeping up with conversation, you know, they're not understanding, or they're just simply trying to humanize them. Because I think we forget that a lot, that when we debate people on the opposite end of the spectrum, you know, whether it's politically or ideologically or religiously, that is a human being, you know, that's somebody loves them, you know, they have kids or they're someone's son or daughter. And Jade was the type of person that always said, you know, you have to find a way to reach them where they're at, not for them to go to you.
Right.
And I never, to this day, I don't think I can do it. I think that's something that probably comes with her unique experiences, and someone who just was. I don't want to do the wise old lady or the wise old man trope.
Sure.
But I can't even, like, I don't know how else. The only other person I could think of is Christopher Mowdy, and even then, you know, he even has his limits. Jade almost never. I can only think of one time she yelled, but that was mostly at the cat. So, so I can't think of one time where she sincerely was angry at somebody. You know, frustrated for sure, but angry, never.
When she died, there was a funeral that was organized for her. Were you
Yes.
part of organizing that?
I would say there was like the first line, the second line, and the third line. I was the third line. So what I mean by that is there were people who organized the hotels by, you know, calling around, getting discounts, you know, stuff like that. There was the second line, which was trying to basically herd cats into making sure everybody got a ride. And, you know, they got to the location to and from, like, you know, that we had a general overall plan. And then there was people like me who basically picked up the slack. Like, hey, this person's having, you know, issues with accommodations. This person's having issues with another person. You know, how do we resolve this? How do we figure out a way to do that? So I was involved in some of the planning, but majority of the planning, I have to say, was Fiona and Sam.
What, you know what I'm going towards. What?
Yeah, listen, if you want to ask me, I will answer.
Well,
but
I want to go slow.
It's hard for me to just, you know,
Sure.
out of the blue. It's
No,
difficult.
I know. We're gonna get there. I want to go slow. I'm being deliberate for a reason.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, it was who did you go to the funeral with?
I went to the funeral with my boyfriend of the time, Red Rhetoric.
I thought you also went with Jackie. Am I wrong on that?
Jackie, so we shared a suite,
Okay.
but we didn't share flights.
I
So
see.
with Reds, yeah, nobody really shared a flight to my recollection, but Jackie was there.
Okay. My apologies.
Yeah.
No,
No worries.
Let's get to the recording, since that's where we're headed, really. The recording. Who made the recording?
You're talking about the Spackle recording, yes?
The Spackle recording.
Spackle did.
Right.
She's the one, right? She was the one who made it.
So, can you describe what was recorded by Spackle?
Uh, so I'm gonna need to lay down some background
Sure.
info so people
Please do.
understand.
Please do.
Um, sorry, I'm just trying to figure out a good place to begin.
You're fine.
When it came to the funeral, Reds and I both agreed that Jade was an important individual that we both would prefer to see off. Yes, in any capacity that we could. What started happening
Hmm.
was that the funeral itself, the trip itself, was used as, I guess, a way to manipulate people. Would be, and I don't, and this is just my opinion. Someone else can disagree. But it started becoming an apparatus for which he could uh, get people to move a certain way. What I mean by that is, as I said, I'm on the outskirts of people planning. But one of the reasons why it took so long for everyone to settle, to plan, to officially know who's going to be, driving with whom, who's arriving when, and all that was because of Red's rhetoric. Red's rhetoric would constantly, in DMs, between me and several individuals, say he doesn't want to room with this person, he doesn't want to be near that person, he can only be near her, be near him. So people were scrambling to make accommodations for him because, again, he wanted to go. But then some days he would decide that he didn't want to go. And this became a really hot issue for me because as my boyfriend, I saw him as regularly as I could. We live on complete opposite sides of the country. I live on the top half, he lives in the bottom half. And one day I went to visit him in Florida where he was, and we were supposed to go see a rocket launch at 5 o'clock in the morning, I believe. We did not sleep that night because I started a conversation with him about what was his plan to go to Jade's funeral, because he and I are tight with money. We have to make sure that we're saving. We have to make sure that, every dollar is accounted for and such. And I cannot tell you, I think that was the most miserable day that year.
So the plumbing job didn't provide him enough income?
No, so
joking.
at the time I was unemployed. I just freshly quit my job.
Sure.
And I was burning through savings because through the relationship, I thought it was normal that we just buy each other stuff. Like, he's interested in a jacket. Okay, it's a $210 jacket. It's not a big deal. I can swing that. What started happening was that he would want to see me as often as possible. So he tried to make it almost every other month. And I could not afford that because that would include, he has to find some place to stay because I can't accommodate him. We'd have to go out to eat, and he has very particular food, palate. He doesn't eat much at all. He would prefer like chicken nuggets and French fries every single day if you didn't push him to eat something else. So it just started becoming like a money pit where like, hey, I can't have you coming, up to see me in New York, or I can't come down to see you in Florida because, plane tickets and all that are just racking up too much bills. So when it came to the Jade funeral, we're like, okay, we're planning this. We know that this is something that's going to happen in a few months. This is how much we're going to save. Well, what started as a trip to a rocket launch became a 5-hour argument in the car where I was feeling gaslit to the point where I wanted to tuck and bail on a highway because he would not stop. And basically what he was doing was, I want to go, but I'm going to buy my own hotel room. Okay, with what money? Well, I'm going to go and I'm just going to sleep in the car. Okay, sleep where? This is bubblefuck middle of California. Like, where are you going to go? I'm going to go, but I'm going to start a fight with this guy. No, why can't you just not start a fight? Why can't you just, like, ignore people,
Sure.
And it just became, he's going to go, he's not going to go. He's going to go, but he's going to spend money he doesn't have, or he's going to go, or he's going to sleep in the street. Or, it just, there was no, it went back and forth for 5 hours. There was crying, screaming. It was just, I just want my boyfriend there. Can I not have my boyfriend there as a pillar of support for me and I be a pillar of support for them? So the deal that we had reached eventually after, I basically made him pull over, and I just had to take a breather because I was so physically upset, like I could not calm down for a little bit, was that he would agree to go so long as I accommodated him, meaning he's going to be alone by himself. He's not going to interact with anybody. He's not going to see anybody. But if he were to give me a look, or if he were to stand in eyesight from me, I was to go to him. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I have to go and be with him. Now, this is a group activity. There's a lot of people here.
Right.
So you can imagine that it's going to be awkward when one person is deliberately not wanting to participate in the group functions, which to a degree is fine. But then the second half would come in where I would get food for them. I would fetch things for them. I would make excuses for them. I would, be polite to other people on his behalf. I would,
Right. Sure.
And that, as predicted, and I tried, I really, from the bottom of my heart, I really tried not to let the funeral vacation, I guess, so to speak, go off as it did. The funeral itself was fine. If you watch video, there's a video which I know people don't want to release because it has his face on it, where the funeral itself is beautiful. It is, people are giving eulogies. They're giving, last sentiments from people online. Red spoke for people online who couldn't afford to attend. The trip to the whales and us getting seasick because so many people wanted to leave so many final messages for Jade. The waves were swaying the boat like crazy. Just like we were, some people were like physically lifting off the boat. Sometimes the waves would be that high. So half of us got seasick, just waiting for hours after everybody is saying their final words to Jade before we finally release her ashes. That's not where the problems began. The problems started before then. It paused during the funeral. I think he behaved well enough to put on, at least perform in front of everybody as if he were okay. And then it immediately picked up again during the reception. And that's kind of where everybody can see that his behavior was out of control. And I know I'm being long-winded. I'm sorry.
No. It's absolutely fine. Okay, so here's my question. You obviously, and you aren't the first person to tell these stories. It's just you're the closest person to Reds to tell this story. You obviously went out of your way to accommodate him at many, many times. Was there ever a time when he did the same for you?
If I were being honest, no. I think throughout the relationship it was, and this is my opinion, I felt it was very uneven because the things that I had to do for him sparked conversations between my friends and I where we had to discuss what the definition of rape was. Now, I'm not saying that he did. I take the antecedent. I'm saying he did not. I take that position. But it got to the point where it's just like, how much do you have to bend over for somebody else to accommodate somebody else when they refuse to budge, or like when your feelings aren't taken into account, your personal comfort isn't taken into account. It was very common to be gaslit. He would in one sentence tell you one thing, and then the very next sentence contradict himself. So when you ask for clarification, he would start. How do I put this? He has two faces. One is Red's rhetoric, which is this debate bro, verbose, very
Vulgar.
crude individual. Yeah, that's a facade. That is absolutely a facade. That is not the individual that he is. That's the individual he wishes to be. Very, very pro, like toxic masculinity, just all the stereotypes of that. Mm-hmm. And then there's Reds as I knew him, which is the guy that I fell in love with. He's soft-spoken, he's sensitive, he's hunched over, shy, he just wants his hand to be held, he doesn't really want too much. that was the guy that I thought I was dating, and merely that the persona was something, he did for entertainment value online. Um, what I didn't understand was that Red's rhetoric and the person who Reds is cannot survive without Red's rhetoric, like emotionally. And it was so draining during the relationship to talk to somebody and to explain, like, you can't act like an asshole to my parents because you're uncomfortable. You are meeting my parents for the first time. You have to, like, not be weird. Like, to say not being weird would be putting it a little too lightly, but you just can't do, you have to be polite. You have to observe social decorum. You can't just decide, well, fuck these people because I'm Red's rhetoric. You're not Red's rhetoric when you're out in public. You're just a normal, lanky, skinny dude. Like, you're just a normal person.
Just a plumber. I want to remind everybody real quick, there will be an after show over on Twitch, twitch.tv/EthanPlaysLive. If you want to watch, if you want to participate in the after show, you need to be a member of my Discord. If you just type !Discord in the chat, you should get the link. If that doesn't work, it's down below in the description, or a mod can put it out. So please join us. We are going to be over on Twitch once we're done here on YouTube. Okay. Nana of Seven.
I'm sorry, just...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just I know you asked me a question, and I still haven't answered it because I'm just being so verbose. I'm really
you're
apologizing.
Good. Go for it.
So to finally try to put a wrap on the Spackle video. So after the funeral, he drew attention to himself while still being away and ignoring everyone. Like, he was ignoring. Oh my God, I'm gonna forget their names. Two of Jade's best friends. Like, these are the closest people to her. Were the ones who organized the funeral. They held the reception at their home, which they had decorated with all of her photos, her belongings, turkey cats everywhere, chataris, just food. It was unbelievable what they had done just for us, because they knew that we were coming and that we didn't know her like they knew her. So they put on all this history of Jade inside their home. Reds was so he didn't like a select group of people, and he felt like to punish them, he would remove himself. That's just, I don't know how to explain it. That's just how he thinks. So he sat outside on a table, just not moving, barely talking to anybody. And it got to the point where he wouldn't go inside to feed himself. He wouldn't go inside to look at old photos of Jade or to talk to her, a few surviving family or her friends and ask her, like what kind of life Jade lived. So it was stressful in the sense that I had to go be a runner for him, go inside, get him food, go inside, get him drinks, go inside, get him, whatever because he refused to leave the table. Like, that was just set up outside. But he would fly his drone around the building so that everybody can hear him and see him, like, see that he's there,
Mm-hmm.
So it was just, people wondering, what's going on and all that crap. So when we got back to the hotel, everybody just wanted to chill. So we decided to play a game of Cards Against Humanity. I was having fun. A whole bunch of us were having fun. And Fiona wants to retire for the night. Okay, perfectly fine. See you later. I'd say about 10, 15 minutes later, she comes back. Reds wants to see me. And I thought that was strange. And I thought, okay, I know what he wants. This is him enacting. This is him enacting the deal that we made, which is, hey, if I call you, you have to come. Okay, that's what's gonna be. I go into the room and he's like, oh, I got you, I got you McDonald's, except all McDonald's is eaten. I'm like, I'm not hungry, I'm good, we just ate. Oh, okay, so we're going to bed? I mean, I wasn't planning to. I was planning to go have fun with everyone else. And he's like, yeah, but but why don't you go to bed with me? Okay, I can see where he's going with this. Okay, he wants me to go to bed. And this is not to say, like, that his behavior was normal prior to that. Like, he had done stuff in front of people, like Captain Osimo, like tell me that I'm going to sleep on the couch because I dared to attempt to introduce him to Captain Osimo, who, again, was his best friend back in the day prior to the GDC. Like, this was someone that he co-hosted a podcast with. This was someone who was excited to meet Reds. there was they hadn't talked in years. You know, Captain Osimo hadn't been in the GDC for years and was excited to meet him. But because I dared to knock on Red's door while Reds was in there, he, in front of Captain, told me to go sleep on the couch, which I ended up sleeping on the floor because Fiona took the couch. You know, Captain, I guess, you know, people found out that that happened, and that already left a bad taste in folks' mouth, especially his behavior, you know, refusing to introduce himself to anyone. You know, we were by a pool, everybody's coming in, you know, from the drive, and he's not talking to anybody besides me. You know, people are extending their hand, trying to greet him. This is just the first meet and greet, and he's refusing. He's ignoring, he's turning their back on everyone. So people were already pissed off. So when it turned out that I was going to retire for the night, I guess the guys just had enough and they decided to confront him. Captain knocked on the door. Can I come in? Sure you can. I opened the door. And from there, you know, Captain just wanted to have a conversation with him. There was no yelling or scream. Like, Captain was a little animated, but that's just who he is as a person. And they were basically telling him, like, your behavior was unacceptable. And I remember just trying to get everybody to go to bed because this was the exact situation I was trying to avoid. But no matter how many times I told Red, like, you aren't just avoiding people because you're sad. You're actively being rude. You know, it's one thing to be rude to me. You know, nobody has to know what you're doing to me. That's fine. But you're being rude to me and to everybody else in front of other people. So everybody now knows that you're doing this. So he got upset that someone confronted him, and Spackle, which, good on her, honestly, was a brilliant move, decided to record the bulk of the confrontation. So that was the recording you heard.
Wow. Okay. Like Girl Frog Jules says, how emotionally exhausting. Nana of 7 asked a question earlier, and I now can't find it because chat's moving a little too fast, even though I put slow mode on, which I'm fine with. But she said something to the effect of, do you feel like Reds felt like he had to make the funeral about himself instead of Jade?
This is going to sound like such a, you know, spiteful ex-girlfriend answer, but the unfortunate answer is yes. Reason being was that it's very difficult, and I talked to you about this before, it's very difficult to explain Reds to people that haven't interacted with him when he's turned off. When Red's rhetoric is turned off and who he really is in the driver's seat. Because you'll see that he just can't talk. Like, he doesn't have a lot of emotional intelligence, to say the least. So if it's not about him, he doesn't know what to do. Like, he doesn't understand. So unless, you know, and the moment you make it about him, that's when the Red's rhetoric persona comes out. And that's not someone that you can rationalize with. Red's rhetoric is not there to be rational. Red's rhetoric is there to fulfill, like, I'd say, like a hole in Red's, where, you know, he might not be a big tough guy IRL, but he can pretend on the internet, or he can put on a performance on the internet. And unfortunately, when it came to Jade, it was, you want me to go to Jade's funeral, do you, Hana? Yes, I do. Okay, that's something I'm going to use against you. And I think after that, he never let that go. We had plenty of fights and, like, shouting matches where he's basically telling me that it's my fault Jade's funeral was ruined. If I only, like, listened to him, if I only did, like, what he wanted me to do, this wouldn't have happened. And it was just, there was nothing. I did everything in my power. You know.
A couple people have just come in and are asking about the volume. The volume is low because this is as loud as we can make Hana, so I've turned myself down lower so that we can match. So you're going to have to turn your volume up. That's why the volume's a little low. Javier, I'm not putting that up. I see your comment, but I'm not putting that one up. A few people have mentioned in chat today and have mentioned me privately and have mentioned on the former streams that they felt like Reds was threatening. I have two questions on that. The first one is, do you feel like Reds was making threats? And do you feel like Reds is somebody who is a threatening person? someone who would carry through with a threat?
This is a difficult question because Reds isn't like stupid. He's not, completely out of his mind when he says the things he does. He just wants to have plausible deniability.
Okay.
Personally, I can only tell you my experience, and if people feel differently, that's perfectly acceptable. I had to contact my local precinct and give them his plate number, because I remember his plate. Basically, give them his information and tell them, like, if this individual comes to my house, can I have police show up and escort him away from me? Like, I made a deal with, I'm friendly with people at the local precinct, and I did that after I broke up with him. The reason that I did that is because I know people like Unirock are just gonna like completely do stupid shit or say stupid shit that I'm not saying, but he never said, I'm going to kill you or I'm going to shoot you. He's never said stuff like that. But he's come close to that line, I would say. Like, you can't... During the funeral, he told Captain Osimo, like, you're lucky I don't have my Ruger with me. What the fuck does that mean?
What
What do you
does that mean?
You're lucky you don't have a Ruger. Yeah, like, what were you going to do with him and a Ruger? There's only so many things. What are you going to do? Like, show him a gun trick? Like, what are you doing? And not to mention, like, there is a story that he propagated to me and to several close individuals of him brandishing a weapon at Burger King, may or may not have been shouting the N-word. He told me a version where he shouted the N-word, hard R, at an individual, and then lifted his shirt to show the gun in his gym shorts to threaten some guy away from him because he got into like a dispute regarding like who gets into the drive-thru first or something to that degree. So that's 2 counts, and then the third count, and I've never said this publicly, and I feel like it's time to say this publicly because I don't know who he's done this to since me. I hope it's only been me, because I would hate to know that he did this to somebody else and I didn't say anything to warn them. I broke up with him twice. The first time I caught him lying to me. He looked at private messages. He pretended that he didn't look at private messages. Okay, after a week of trying to subtly tell him that I know he's looked at my private messages and him trying to sell me otherwise, I basically said I can't trust somebody who won't. It's an honest. If it were an honest mistake, that's fine. But don't lie to me that you never did in the first place. I can clearly see that you did. So I broke up with him, and I went on a trip that I had been planning with a group of my close high school friends for about 2 years. It was about a 15, 16-day trip to Japan. During that trip to Japan, it was early in the morning for me, and I decided to participate in the live chat of a non sequitur show debate where Reds was participating. I didn't tag Reds, I didn't talk to Reds, I didn't talk about Reds. I more or less was shitting on the other flat earther, because I'm bored, we're sitting on a train, all of my friends are sleeping,
Sure. I did that a lot, so I get it.
And I, at the time, I was even a Patreon of Non Sequitur Show for a while. I've always been in the live chat. This was nothing new. It's not like people in the live chat had not seen me before. This was pretty common.
Sure.
After the debate, I thought nothing of it. Walking around Kyoto, I received a message from him, and I thought I had him blocked on everything, but apparently I didn't have him blocked on Google Hangouts, where he says, "It's an emergency. I need to talk to you." And I had said, no, like this, I'm on vacation. Fuck off. Like, no, it's an emergency. Please, you have to answer. Please, please. He's calling. Okay, fine. Fuck my data, I guess. So I pick up the phone and he's a mess. He's in tears. He's crying. You can't do this to me. You can't do it. What did I do? You're in the live chat. Okay, just block me then. You won't see me in the live chat. Yeah, but I'll see people tagging you. But, like, Reds, I want to be on platforms that I'm always been. Like, why do I have to change my life because you're upset?
That's weird.
And he's like, you don't know what's going on. Do you even know that I hit 3 pigs? Yes, I know you hit 3 pigs. I donated to you anonymously like a couple $100, compounded as like a birthday present and as a, sorry you hit 3 pigs, even after we broke up, just because I, God damn, that's terrible. I hope you're okay. I know you hit 3 pigs. Yeah, you don't understand what you've done to me. You're my everything. You don't understand that this Ruger is looking real friendly.
He said that to you?
Yeah. And I will never forget those words because something, and Fiona can verify this, I am someone as an adolescent attempted suicide. And it took like I thought it's not fair to be in a relationship with someone where you tell them that you are open and honest and that you are hiding things from them. So I made a kind of like hangout with Fiona and him to talk about my past so that at least it's open and it's on the table, right? Like, hey, this is just what happened to me. No need to make a big deal about it, but I think you should know this. So
I'm so
he
sorry,
decided to do
Hana.
that.
I can't. Hold on, real quick. We're not moving past this. First of all, okay, I want to say something about Reds because I found Reds before I found the GDC because I used to watch his space launch videos or rocket launch videos, whatever. And I thought they were awesome. And then I was watching Non Sequitur, which I found in a different way, and he was on it. And I was like, that's the guy that I watch his rocket launch videos. This is cool. Like, I'm subscribed to that dude.
Yeah.
And
sorry, I had to move into the bathroom, so if I'm echoing, I apologize.
it's okay. You're fine. You're fine. So I was a huge fan of Red's rhetoric independently first. And I'm still a big fan. I think he makes excellent rocket launch videos. I think they're out fucking standing. I am jealous of his ability to make those videos so fantastic. And I want to say that publicly because this is not, I didn't come here to make my plan wasn't to shit on Reds all day. It's just, this is how the conversation ended up.
No, I understand. Like, again, his rocket launch videos, everybody loves them. That's why he has
absolutely
fans.
They're fantastic. But
I could not explain this to you, that I told him, like, if you want to do YouTube full time, I will support you. Whatever you need. You need me to do SEO for you, thumbnails, whatever. Let's make YouTube your career. Oh, you said you don't want YouTube as your career? You want to work for Tesla? You want to work for SpaceX? Then I'm going to put my energy, into making your dream come true. And he never committed. Like, he just didn't care. He just wanted somebody that was going to be at his beck and call, I guess.
Hana,
and
you are like a dream girlfriend, by the way. Like, a dream relationship partner, however you want to say it. Like, everyone should be lucky enough to have... No, I'm serious. I'm saying, maybe you weren't perfect or whatever, but that's what everybody wants, right? I just want somebody who's going to support me for my dreams. Like, put me first. Like, that's...
I don't believe, there's no way, because that was my first relationship. I've never been with anyone of any sex, of any gender, until him. I wasn't interested. I didn't care. Like, I was a working girl, career woman. I just don't care. And I haven't been with anyone seriously since, because I just...
So Red's Reddick's the only person that you have ever seriously been romantically involved with?
Yes. That's why I'm telling you. I know I'm not the perfect girlfriend, because I had
no
insurmountable amount of things to learn.
Hold on. You can't not victim blame yourself. Okay? If you were in a relationship that sounds abusive, I'm not saying that was abusive. I'm saying this sounds a lot like, I'm saying that the duck quacks, okay? Or whatever it is, quacks and walks like a duck. It's not your fault that you got into a relationship with somebody who didn't treat you right. That has happened to most people that I know, have at some point been in a relationship, a romantic entanglement with somebody where things became abusive. That is not your fault. I do not want you feeling that it is your fault, and that does not make you a bad person or a bad romantic partner. Reds made his decisions, and he chose to do the things that he wanted to do, and it is not your fault that those are the choices that he made, the decisions that he made. you have always been a phenomenal friend to me, and I I do not want to hear you putting yourself down like that because you do not deserve it in any way, shape, or form.
I appreciate it, but to me, it's like I don't think about him. I don't, before I was scared because after he called me, you gotta understand, I was on the phone with him for I'd have to double check with my high school friends because we had something called pocket Wi-Fi, and he was calling me over Google Hangouts. So you can imagine I'm less than 6 feet away from my closest high school friends, them listening to me crying on the phone, like asking him, like, do you need a hotline? Do you have access to a hospital? Like, where's your gun right now? Where are you right now? Like, how far is the gun from you? Like, is there anybody, eh, they had to listen to this for like at least half an hour. And I'm just like crying my eyes out thinking like, I'm on vacation and my ex is just going to kill himself. Like, what am I going to do? So I ended up, talking to a few people, seeing if I can pass a message to Sean Hufford, like, hey, can Sean Hufford check up on him? As far as I'm aware, Sean Hufford never responded. Yeah, and I just, the shitstorm that happened with him and his roommate was actually started because I contacted his roommate and told him, like, he just said this to me on the phone. I don't know what to do. I'm scared that he's going to hurt himself. I'm scared he's going to do something crazy. I don't know what to do. Can you please, like, just for my sake, while I'm on the literal opposite side of the world, can you just take the gun for now? Just disassemble it, put it somewhere, just until he's calmed down. Then you can, you and him can have a talk or whatever. And that's what started the problems between him and his roommate that ended up in a shit show.
Well, have you spoken to somebody like a professional about all of the things that you went through in this relationship?
No. No, I kind of chalk it up to shit happens and, just kind of move on.
Well, I'm a huge advocate of therapy because of how much it helped me in my life. So, I urge you to try if you can.
I'm fine. Like I know it sounds crazy. Like it's crazy to other people, but I'm fine. Like I'm moved on. I'm in a different city. I'm doing different things. Like I don't know. I just don't think about that. Like like I guess I was scared the first year and a half. I have to say, which is a reason why. Reds. Sorry, a few people in the GDC were so you were walking on eggshells because I was so scared that if I told anybody, because by the time I got back, funny enough, I got back together with him after the Japan thing. I can't explain to you how it happened. It just did. He drove 18 hours straight to my home, and we just made up. But from that point on, I didn't realize it, but I became isolated. I didn't talk to anybody from the GDC. I didn't have a confidant anymore. He made me apologize to Jared and a few people because I didn't contact them first before breaking up with him or something like that. And I just felt like this is how things are going to be from now on. I just have to be Red's peace while he goes and does whatever in his community, and I can't speak because I don't want him to kill himself. I don't want him to threaten to do
neither
that.
do I.
I don't want him.
I don't want anybody to do that, and I hope Reds gets help too. Reds, if you ever see this, dude, it is not okay to make those kinds of comments to people, and you obviously need some help, and I really, truly hope you get it, because it's just not okay, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt bad too because I met Jared and Sean Hufford and a few people in person, and I really liked hanging out with them. And just the shit that happened afterwards almost exclusively happened. The reason why they attacked me so much is literally because I broke up with Reds. Like I did nothing to them personally, to the point where Sean's aunt and his family asked me to come back. They apparently liked me so much they invited me to stay with them again. Like I don't know what I did to Sean or to Jared or whatever that made them as like they straight out say some shit that just did not like factually did not happen. I can't even fathom that somebody would just make shit up out of the blue or pretend that something didn't happen when it did and they were personally witness to it. But like I'm not Red's friend. I know how the game is played. I was there for 2+ years. I know that that's how they interact with him. They just affirm like they affirm with each other, but Red particularly needs that support. So they will always affirm stuff for Reds because he needs it. Like and they're his friends, and they just feel like they all have to do that.
Sure.
So it doesn't surprise me that they do, but it does scare me because the first time I broke up with him, and I failed to mention this, sorry. The first time I broke up with him, there was a period before I went to Japan and, after the breakup where I was doxxed. I don't know how. It happened quite shortly after I broke up with him. I was getting voicemails. I don't think I got any emails. I might have and then just deleted them right away. But I was certainly getting like phone calls almost every night for like a month and change. Like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm a whore.
God.
I'm only with him because he's a big YouTuber. I'm a piece of shit. I'm gold digger. I'm, like all this. It was just these phone calls like every single morning. And as someone who was like looking for a job at the time, I didn't not answer a phone call, but sometimes these phone calls would come in the middle of the morning. Sometimes they'd come in the middle of the day. Most often they came in the morning. So I don't know. I'm not saying it was Reds. I'm not pointing a finger particularly at any one of them.
Sure.
I'm just saying like, yeah. I don't, it's just, it seemed to have happened conspicuously right after I broke up with Reds. Like, okay. And I was just scared. Like, I just thought, like, I don't live alone. I live with my family. Like, he memorized the route from his house to my house. And he knows how to get here. He doesn't need to look at a map. What's to stop him from coming over to my house, like, brandishing a gun at me? I try to call the police, and then, like, he's already gone. And I just look like a crazy person. Like, what am I going to do? Like, it's my word against his, and that's never going to win out for me. Because I look like a jaded ex-girlfriend or I look like a crazy person. Like, so I kind of ask people in the GDC, like, hey, don't mention my name. Like, don't. Yeah,
that's exactly what you said. The first conversation we ever had, I had the brass tacks document and I had the recording of that hangout. And the first thing you said was, don't mention my name. I know that you've got the documents. I know you've got the brass tacks. I know my name's in it. Can you please make sure that my name is not shown on screen? And I said, absolutely. I will make sure that I don't show your name. That was the very first conversation we ever had. And now I understand why. Now I understand why you were so scared.
I guess, and I feel bad because I handicapped so many people. Like, sure, like, my relationship with him is something that is exclusive to me, but he didn't do shit exclusively to me. He did stuff in the presence of other people, and it was just as much their story to tell as it was mine. And I kind of handicapped everyone by saying, like, please don't talk about it because, like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't, like, I can't explain that he will follow a suggestion if he thinks he can make a plausible alternative to what actually is the case. So let's say Jared proposes that he comes to my house, right? And Red mules about it. Oh, why would I come to his house? And then somebody else gives him the idea. Oh, you can come to, Hana's house and make her look like a crazy person by just showing up or just driving around for a little bit and then go fucking off or something. Like some stupid suggestion, right? And if enough people tell him that this stupid suggestion is a good idea, that it'll get the effect that he wants, and he can come up with a plausible, deniable alternative, he's going to do it. And I know he does that because he's told me several times that he's done that. The last time I broke up with him, I had found out that the Burger King story was going out, the one where he shouted the N-word hard R at some guy and brandished a gun.
Right.
I found out that that story was becoming public. So I told him, I warned him. And remember, I'm not talking to these people. I separated myself from Drag, Fiona, and like all my friends online. They didn't hear from me. I didn't even know I was back with Reds. I just ghosted everybody because I didn't want to stress Reds out. And I said, you gotta be honest about what happened. You gotta just, own it and move on. And I'll never forget. Like, this is another thing I'll never forget because this shit bothers me when I think about it. He smiles. He starts smiling, like smirking at me. I'm like, what the fuck are you smiling about? That's not fun. Like, you committed a crime. That's a crime in Florida. What are
Yeah.
you talking? That's not funny.
I think it's a crime everywhere.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, because it's a lie. Wait, what's a lie? That never happened. Wait, what never happened? The Burger King situation. Reg, you told me that happened before I broke up with you the first time. That was like one of the first trials and tribulations of our relationship. Where like, even after that, he was crying, oh my God, you're gonna think I'm crazy. I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to forget. And I'm still supporting you, and I'm still saying that I'm gonna be here for you, and I'm still, and I'm gonna help you. God forbid the police get involved or something. I'm trying to think what the fuck the bail costs are in Florida. I'm still gonna be behind you. And you just told me that like all of that is a lie? Like, do you It's fucked up because this dude would drive around with with me in the car whenever I never wanted to go to Florida. I really sparsely wanted to go to Florida.
I don't blame
Because this dude would drive with the fucking pistol in his gym shorts. Like just in his waistband. And I'm just like, we're just gonna go get food. What the fuck do we need a gun for? And sometimes he'd have it in the little cubby, like in the cubby for the dash thing, whatever the fuck that's called. I don't know, like next to the steering wheel. And sometimes I didn't know if the gun was in the car at all. So I'm thinking, like, if we get into road rage or something, am I going to get shot? Like, is he going to shoot somebody? Are we going to get in a shootout right now? Because, like, Florida man is such a prolific thing. You see like, in the news all the time, two 90-year-old men got in a shootout over a parking dispute. Like, it's crazy in Florida. They're fucking stupid. I'm sitting there, like, crying because I'm thinking, like, this guy who's my partner just admitted that he brandished the gun and used a racial epithet, and that like this could happen at any moment, and I have no control. I'm just sitting here in the passenger seat like a dingus. Like, what am I supposed to do?
All right, take a breath. I'll talk for a minute.
Sorry.
No. Don't be sorry. Just I care about you. That's all. Just remind everybody, in a few minutes when we end this, there will be an after show over on Twitch, twitch.tv/EthanPlaysLive. Come in and join the Discord. If you want to be on the after show and talk with me, you can join the Discord. We'll be in the live chat room. I'll put the Discord link in the chat again. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hana, I want to close everything down, but I want to start with this. When we first met and started talking and you told me you were scared, I didn't understand. I thought that I did. I thought that I knew, and I didn't. And I am so sorry for what you went through. It wasn't fair. It wasn't right. And you didn't deserve it. And you had every right to be scared. That is not how you act around people, especially not somebody you're in a relationship with. I'm so sorry that happened to you. But I want to give yourself a minute. I want you to say whatever you want to say to close this out, and go ahead. Whatever you want to say.
I mean, sorry, I was like, I got off on a tangent for a little bit, but
It's okay.
I'm not someone who's here to shit on Reds for the sake of shitting on Reds. I would have done that years ago if I cared. I want everyone to know that Fiona was telling the truth. Fiona has bent over backwards to help him during the relationship. She was our confidant, like she knows intimate details about our sex life and stuff way before she ever met him in person. And she was the kind of person that would help us, like try to be like almost like a counselor, and this is what to expect out of a relationship, and this is how you deal with arguments and stuff. It is hard for me to hear that she was accused of assault when as the only other person at JFK that day, to say it was sexual assault is the most stupid, disgusting, asinine argument I've ever heard in my life. Because by that same token, Red's Rhetoric's grandma has sexually assaulted me twice. Because she also did the peck on the cheek, peck on both cheeks greeting. That's like a standard, European, South American type greeting. This is commonplace. Fiona is Scottish. Like, this is someone who she knows, again, intimate details about his life, my life, our relationship. This was not a stranger. I can't describe to you how ecstatic Reds was to meet Fiona. I mean, we're all happy, and it was a good trip, and I had so much fun with everybody. I had fun with Reds, I had fun with Fiona, I had fun even with G-Man. It was a good trip, and to hear some pea-brain wannabe me try to turn it into something that it's not, and try to ruin one of the few good memories I have by saying some just, like, really dumb shit. I mean, I gotta give it to Cheshire. Like, I just really quickly, I do have to give it to Cheshire because supposedly, like, they're a thing, which is cool. She might be the reason why Reds hasn't called me on the phone threatening to kill himself again, because maybe he had a distraction. So Cheshire, come through to New York. I'll buy you a steak dinner. Thank you for taking that off my hands. During a time where I don't think I could have handled it. But other than that, like, that's clearly not what happened at JFK. I'm just shut the fuck up, you idiot. But
Sure.
Fiona, if you guys haven't watched Fiona's Requiem for a GDC, please do. She's an amazing person. If you have any opportunity to watch some of her discussions that she's been in on TST, Talking Shit Tuesday, or even here, like, I strongly encourage it. She's a phenomenal human being.
She is. She's one of my favorite people around, and I'm honored that she's my friend. She's fantastic, fantastic person. Hana, do you want to join us for the after show? You don't have to.
I've got time. I'll join.
Okay. All right, guys, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to close this down. Give me about 5 minutes to refresh my drink, and we'll be live on Twitch, twitch.tv/EthanPlaysLive. I want to thank the chat for being here. Hana, of course, thank you so much, my friend. And
No problem.
guys, we will see you in a few minutes over on Twitch.